Of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood, EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.
It's another beautiful Saturday, and this is the brunch here on Kerr Fatou with me, Joy Wama. And of course, I'm not alone in the studio. We have full house. And by the way, let me start by saying that Nima Sata is here with us today, so it makes it more exciting to have 2 females on the table. But before much ado, I'll start by introducing Mr. Lamin Cham, who's from the Standard newspaper. And of course, Nima Sata Kamara, you're welcome after a long field work. Thank you. And of course, I like to call him our own bona fide member, Mr. Mustafa K. Dawo. And today's, it's going to be spectacular, and we're ready to get much more information. Mr. Lamin Cham, what do you have for us on Newspaper Review today?
Thank you very much, and welcome to our viewers around the globe. Well, the top on my program today on the newspaper is the Berending Gunjur incident. We know, of course, the police have launched a big manhunt for the suspect of the murder of Gunjur man in the land crisis between them. But some part of, actually it should be like some part of Gunjur and some part of Berending, not entirely the two villages entirely at each other's door. But that is covered extensively in the newspapers, and it was revisited by police, who said now they believe they have named the murder suspect, and they are looking out for him. That's what we will look at. And then we dealt with politics last week, the fallout in cabinet after the sacking of the UDP trio. And then we will also deal with Barrow Youth Movement. Well, let me say the Barrow Fans Club. There seem to be split now, 2 Barrow Fans Club. We will try to talk about that. The TRRC is another topic we will talk about. There have been interesting testimonies, and people have a lot of different opinions about the testimonies there. So all those interesting topics in the newspaper.
Interesting. Let's start with the Berending incident, as you mentioned earlier. Tell us more.
Well, just as we were on the program last week, just before we wrap up, news started tickling, and we didn't deal with it then because it was just coming that a man lost his life in a dispute between Berending. Berending's settlement near Gunjur.
It's on the borders of the Senegal.
Is it? No,
not very far.
No, not far from where, but Berending is not near the border.
Yeah, not very far.
It's not very far from Khartoum, but it's not so. But this is part of a whole problem between the communities, Congo communities in that area and many other areas. They have a problem with the settlers, mainly from the Manjago, other minority communities who came to settle there many years ago. Now, the feeling that these people have is that initially, from the very beginning, the land belonged to them. the ancestral land and which have been given to these people as their guests. But over the years and decades, these people have grown, they've got children and they've come to call the place home. Now, in the last 22 years, I mean, you could put the blame on how, what happened in the last 22 years, because what this community are saying that they didn't see any side of justice during the last 22 years. Now, there will be court rulings in their favor, but then the government at the day, connive with one side or the other, and they wouldn't have justice. So after the change, they felt that now perhaps there is freedom and there is justice. They believe that they can find justice. And we all know the government have been very slow in tackling land issues. And that day, it was very clear people were blaming the government for being too slow in dealing with land disputes. Of course, the government said they were not slow. They have set up a land commission, but the land commission has not even started working, and there are a lot of problems. Even as recent as a few days ago, it was in the papers again. This is Sotokoy village in Combo, near the Phones there. There too, whole communities have been torn apart because of land disputes, and it's everywhere you went in, throughout the last 3 years, 2.5 years since they came. My feeling is that I think these land matters, this land commission should have been set up at the same time as this TRRC and the CRC. It should be part of the transitional justice program. You see, the government should put this land commission, go and seek funds, just as they have sought funds for CRC and TRRC. Use these funds as compensations, you know what I mean? If this guy is claiming that this is my ancestral land, but others have already settled in that land, it's not logical to evict them. Now, go and assess how much land they said is occupied by these people, how much would it be? Then you pay some sort of a compensation to the families who said it was their ancestral land, and they move on. So I think this land commission should have been part of the other transitional instruments such as the TRRC, transitional justice systems like the CRRC and the CRC. So I think the government was slow, recognizing that these land disputes are going to be explosive issues, and they will get out of hand. Look at it now. I mean, a man lost his life, and who knows? It could have been provinces, it could have been anywhere. So, in my view, land is an explosive issue, and the government should take it. This land commission, they should expedite its functions and let it be the same status as the TRRC or the CRC.
May his gentle soul rest in peace.
Yeah, I agree with you completely on the points that you make here. I think the ultimate problem here is that both governments, the past government and present government, have failed these communities. In early 2018, UNDP, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior, they did a research called the Peace and Conflict Analysis, and it was the report that was generated from this research that was taken to Brussels to lobby for funds for the Gambia, the funds that were pledged to the Gambia. And I was privileged to be part of this research, and we visited communities in Gunjur, especially in the surroundings. We spoke to the people, and these land conflict issues were things that we have included in the data that we have collected as a very pertinent issue. At that point, even in my mind and in my colleagues' mind, at that point it was an urgent issue that needed to be addressed, and this was included in the report. And I do not understand why something like that would be highlighted in the report and nothing has been done about it. And we understand that land issues have been a matter of customary issues in the past. There have been agreement between families as who owns the land and who is going to use it. So they have a mutual understanding about how the land is going to be used. But obviously, time changes. We are in the period where lands have become very expensive commodities for families. So ultimately, agreements are going to be altered. But when you have an authority or people in power now beginning to assert their personal influences over agreements that have been long-standing, that becomes a problem. And we understood from our research that this was the case. Two families will agree that one is the owner of the land, the other is going to use it or is going to settle on it. And it has been like that for many years. And then they begin to see them now building perennial trees on the same land, and they begin to question whether the agreement still stands and you have somebody from within the past government coming to now assert personal influence over this land. I think that's where the whole problem began. And my observation at the time during the research was that this could be avoided, this violence could be avoided. What they needed was a platform. Like people of Gunjur, people of Berlin, they needed a platform to talk about these issues. It was not even, it was no longer, from my observation, because I've spoken to them, from my observation, it was no longer about we want our land, give it to us. They wanted a platform where they could discuss their grievances and their grievances would be acknowledged and something would be proposed, something that is beneficial to both communities. And this did not happen, to my knowledge. And for me, that was the reason why we are witnessing what is happening. And up to this point, I'm not sure that any tangible steps have been taken.
What the government said they have put up a land commission.
It's happening all over West Coast.
Yeah.
This is not just a Gunjur problem. It's all over West Coast.
So what's the way forward?
Now, well, like I suggested, the land issue should have been treated as a transitional justice issue, just like the TRRC and the CRRC and any other things. So the government will, go and look for funds. Get these funds together and look at the situations where appropriate. Pay compensations to people who said this were their ancestral land, and they were, quarreling to evict people who have settled for decades, in the land. It's not going to be logical. It's always going to invite trouble. If you want somebody to get out of where he's been living for the last 30 years.
I think also the solution should have begin with government first dealing with the estate agency issue. You see, right now what is happening in Combo, it's like there is no regulation over how land is used or how land is.
There is no regulation. That's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. But there is a land act. There is in fact a regulation that's not being implemented. So, but there is a land act. There is an act that governs how land ought to be used in this country, but no one is implementing those regulations. Now, what should happen is when government come into being, the first thing they should have put on was what is happening in Combo. It's like there is estate agency every 10 meters. Like in this country, you go, every building has an estate agency, and everyone is buying and selling land. They are selling. They will in fact sell you one land and sell it to another person. Combo is a ticking time. It's a disaster waiting to happen. That's what Combo is right now. And what government could have first done is to say, look, we are putting an embargo on all these land sales. Let us investigate who owns what. Then when they do that, then the second step could be...
That's land commission's
job. That's land commission's job. But as the land commission does its work, there needs to be an embargo on the sale of land in Combo.
So there must be a proper documentation of land and land ownership. As I speak now, none of these things are happening.
Absolutely. So if you see, for instance, when the land commission is doing its work, and you are allowing someone to sell a cemetery or buy and sell a cemetery, you understand? And you have to know that also this problem is coming because there is so much money in land. Before, if people of Berending had come, it's almost clear that this must have been an ancestral Gunjur land. But when these people come and all pass, they don't request money for land. They invite you in, you give them color note, and they give you. And now, if the young boys in Gunjur are being told by estate agencies, this land that your father gave could have given you 2 million, and it gets in his head, he's going to obviously go after that land.
That's another dimension.
But if this land had already been given to this person and he settles in, and so you see the complication.
That's the problem now. At the time, land was not
simplistic. It's too simplistic for people to say that a family have come to settle. I know this is going to be unpopular, but it's too simplistic for us to sit back here and say a family have settled on a land for centuries. The original owner should now request for it. I think for me, it's not for us to say that. It is for the government and the local government to institute a plan that is going to make the discussions around this very systematic, right? In a way that both families, both communities, or all the communities that are involved are going to be given a platform to discuss these matters and to discuss a way forward.
So I think there are two different things. Now, if a stranger comes to a village and he seeks or wants two things he wants to settle at once. He wants to settle with his family where they will live, they will call, where they will build their houses. Normally, that is given for good. But the stranger will ask for a place to farm.
Yeah.
Now, this is normally not given for good. You know, you will farm there as long as you have, but you know that this one just a farm.
This is not this
I was returned
yes.
Return this to Dabukunda.
Yeah.
But now, if the stranger is clinging to the farm itself, or sell it to others,
that's a
where the
problem.
problem is.
That's a problem.
So this is where the problem is.
But this is why government needs to institute a commission to deal with
So
this.
if I sold a land that has been given to me to farm, I sold it to another person who settled there for many, many years, and the original landowners who gave me for a farm come to say, look, we did not give this place for settlement, we gave it to you for a farm, you should return it to us. But already I have given it to 3 or 4 of my family members, and now a court order said that they must go. So that's where the problems are. These are all intriguing things, well, interwoven, and it will take a lot of time and a lot of...
It must be treated with urgency.
Exactly. The land commissioners I speak now, do you know their office? Nobody knows. I mean, the government is too slow in formulating this, you know. It should have been at the same time as the TRC or the CRC. Now, moving on now. We discussed a little bit about the fallout from cabinet. The entire UDP representatives on the cabinet seem to have gone. And last week we were trying to see what will this mean for both Barrow and Dabo, and generally for the country's politics. There were suggestions like, would Barrow now reach out to GDC or to, GDC perhaps, and try to poach some people more from the UDP, and perhaps would he try to make the devil, how to deal with the devil in courts, that's APRC. Would he be brave enough to embrace the APRC agenda, which is protecting Gambia all the time? Would Barrow be brave enough to take on APRC, of course with the promise that it's going to be a soft landing for Gambia? Would he be brave enough to do that? In the absence of all that, where do you think his political basis, or he's just gambling? We discussed that, and we would like to extend that forward. And the reaction of the people to it, we saw a certain divide. We're happy that was out of the cabinet. They took that to be a victory, whereas others say, well, this double being there or not is just a general failure of all the coalition to stick together to the agenda that brought them to power. So, what do you think? You went in here last, we can start with you.
Yeah, let's start with who is happy and who is not.
Yeah, who is happy?
Yeah, from what I can observe, I don't think that Dabo's sacking came as a surprise to anyone, not even UDP supporters. It was a long way coming, people have seen it coming, and I think that for majority of, for example, those in the UDP camp feel relief that this has eventually happened, now we can forge ahead. And I think many people see the Barrow government as quote-unquote a failure, and I don't think many people want to associate with a government that is seen to be failing. So for the UDP camp, I think this is their relief moment. And then we have from other members of community who are not from the UDP camp who are happy to see what is happening, because obviously UDP support for Barrow means that the Barrow camp is stronger and the UDP camp is stronger because they have the majority, but also they have the power of the incumbency. But when the two parts ways, then the incumbency stands alone and the party with the majority stands alone, but also there is a chance that the third party could be split into two because Barrow has a chance to draw other members from the UDP party towards him. And I think if we are going to be optimistic about the Barrow government, we could say that this is their moment now to refocus their attention on national development. Yeah, because it has been a distraction for many months, this power struggle between him and Dabo. And the distraction was felt outside the government also, that was frustrating for many people, that we are at a standstill, we're not moving forward. So we could, if we are going to be optimistic again, we could say that now he would have a chance to focus because he has people around him that he felt comfortable with, that he thinks he may have the same visions with, and the distraction that was Dabo is no longer there. But personally, I am not a very optimistic person about the present government, so I don't see that happening, especially now Barrow has to be thinking about how to build his own political career from this breakaway from that.
What I could see, like, what do you make of this suggestion that, okay, now Barrow is a lot more lonelier than before, because virtually the coalition members who have greater followings have all been kicked out of his government. Now, would he now have to rely on technocrats who doesn't have any political base, you know, to oil the machines of his government? Like, for example, Dabo, Amadou, you know, and Tim, you could see politicians who have quality and they have backings. Omar Jallo, you could say, okay, maybe he has a backing of PPP, whatever. Though he's is not even in his cabinet, in his government.
Yeah.
And though UDP are seen to be the biggest political, you know, groups in the country, none of them are in his government now. Is he not lonely? Where would he get political support?
Well, I would think of Barrow as a ghost who has possessed a body. When he came, he was in a body, and now he's evicted out of that body, and he needs to find a body.
Who causes that eviction?
Well, we will come to that later. Let's first talk about the body that, I mean, he come in someone's body. Barrow come under the shadows of Ousseynou and his political whatever support Ousseynou had. This during the campaign, Barrow campaigned on Ousseinou's platform.
Yes.
Ousseynou is in jail, Ousseynou is this, Ousseynou is that, Ousseynou. So Barrow has come in Ousseinou's body as a ghost. And now he's evicted, he needs to find a body. And that's the next phase of his political evolution. So the success of Barrow would depend on finding that suitable body that would go with the ghost itself.
Yeah, those cells. So
and he does not have that for now. For me, I mean
the question you asked, I'm going to interrupt you. The question you asked, I think at this point it's very hard for any one of us to answer that question. Because I am trying to grapple with the motive that Barrow could have to make such a move. Like you want to have something that you fall back on when you're going to make such a major decision. But we are not seeing that to be there for Barrow. Like there is no party that you would associate with Barrow at this point. The Barrow youth movement that could transform itself into a party is not a very big, there's no large following within that group. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is a man who does not have a chance to create a party on his own, to galvanize a support system that is as strong as any of the political parties that are already standing. And we have only two years away from elections. So I'm thinking, could he just want to, for example, maybe because of his personal fallout with Dabo, he does this to inflict pain on Dabo and the party? Could that have been his motive? Or is it just his political ambition that he sees to thrive outside of UDP? Is that
or he prepares his mind for mutually assured destruction?
Exactly.
As Russia and America goes to war.
Is that what is happening?
I think he could be a captive of his of people, sycophants, and his own ambition, you know, to extend his.
But you couldn't be blind
because he could be blinded to realities and the challenges that he could confront.
He is not without option. Right. The options are just difficult to take. He's not without option. So UDP and UDP is on the sides. You have PDY is on this side, which are apparently like they're difficult for him to reach.
PDOIS, I don't think we want to join Barrow.
No, I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say PDY is on this side, UDP is on this side.
Yeah.
Now you have Barrow and his NRP.
NRP does not have much following. Really.
I know, but NRP is on his side. At least so you have the GDC's followers may be sympathetic. If Barrow is standing on its own, and then the GDC and other followers realize that, oh, if we vote for GDC, GDC will not win. If we vote for APRC, APRC will not win. We will divide our votes, and UDP will win. They can be tempted to go for Barrow.
Yeah.
So that they focus all their energies on one direction to tilt the balance against UDP. This is a likely scenario. I'm saying because in politics there is a necessary evil. There is an evil you work with.
I think the party that's likely to do that for me is APRC and not GDC. I mean, we are talking about the possibilities.
Yeah.
As far as possibilities, I think GDC will only want to form alliance with Barrow if it means that Barrow is going to align his small base of support towards GDC. Yeah.
I would say Mama Kande will not like to play second fiddle to Barrow.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't see that coming. But what I do see coming is that Kande's supporters can abandon him.
Can abandon Kande.
Can abandon Kande for Barrow. That's highly likely.
That's likely.
And APRC supporters can abandon APRC for Barrow. But on conditions that because it depends on how he approaches the Gambia issue.
Not likely.
Yeah.
The APRC may be happy that Dabo is gone.
Yes.
But they saw Dabo as bad influence.
Yeah.
On Barrow as far as they are concerned.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought that Dabo is a little bit conciliatory. Or Barrow alone, he may rig deals with them.
Yeah.
But what I cannot see Barrow doing or gambling with is to agree with APRC, and APRC's best interest is to have a good package for Janko.
But by all indications, you've seen Barrow has confirmed to be a very desperate individual as it is right now.
I don't think he will gamble to go that far, given the bad international reputation and local reputation for Janko. If he comes out openly to do a deal that is going to be seem to be a soft cushion for Janko, he will lose.
But what would Barrow lose? What would he lose by forming alliance with APRC? What is at stake is the presidency.
No, I'm talking to you that
it looks like that is the only thing that would give him the support.
Yeah, but the thing is, he may, in fact, it can be counterproductive. By associating himself with APRC, you can make him lose the respect and credibility and trust of people who disagree with APRC. You know what I mean?
My point is...
And I don't think APRC blindly following him, just because they don't want Dabo or Halifa, blindly following him without him promising something very palatable to their eyes or their ears.
My point
and that has to do with Janko.
As it stands at the moment,
That's the problem.
Barrow's best chance is forming alliance with APRC, as it stands at the moment. And by doing that,
Undoubtedly.
he has nothing to lose because there is nothing else there for him.
You think Barrow would not lose the support and trust of right-thinking people who fought vehemently against Janko to see him abandoning all those principles and aligning himself with Janko enablers just because he wants to keep power?
But the right-thinking people he lost already.
The counterproductive.
How many of those right-thinking people
and
supporting Barrow?
And again, how much figures do we have in number those APRC now have after Janko?
Yeah, so who are those right-thinking people?
That the crowds that we see are not translating the votes.
No matter how slim APRC support base is, it's still bigger than Barrow's support base.
But Barrow hasn't got any support base, actually.
Exactly. That's why I said that Barrow is not going to lose anything. Barrow has distanced himself from every credible political party. I mean, credible in quotations. Yeah. Right? But here is the thing. If Barrow is keen on re-election, there is no political party at present. It's not PDOIS. It's not UDP. GDC, I'm not going to say never, but I'm not seeing GDC aligning itself with Barrow. PPP, I don't think
those
PPP
ones have no. You know, when you are talking about political blocks,
so it's either
you are talking about GDC, APRC,
PDY,
and
NRP.
Yeah.
No, even if you don't talk about NRP.
So
they have 5 representatives in the National Assembly.
As far as the leaders of these parties are concerned, Barrow has presented himself as unreliable.
That's why I find it difficult for Doi to abandon all their principles and all the misgivings now they have about Barrow to come to terms with him, to ally with him. Very unlikely.
Okay. So
and suddenly UDP will be no-go area for him.
So if that is
if
the
you are
case,
telling me that GDC,
if that is the case, then for Barrow, as far as the re-election is concerned, or chances for re-elections are concerned, is either he doesn't compete, or he aligns himself with APRC. Those are the
if
options.
he doesn't want to compete, he probably wouldn't have got himself into trouble with the UDP. He would have just said, well, You know, I really
maybe
have
as
sort of
Mustafa said, it's
I think it's political ambition. His ambition to contest.
Both.
His ambition to contest beyond 5 years is what is that formed the bone of contention between him and the UDP. I think that's the problem.
Let's move on to something else.
So we cannot.
Unless we understand.
Anyway, that's Barrow's problem.
Anyway,
that's Barrow's problem.
That's Barrow's problem.
We have a lot of things to deal with.
Okay, sir.
All right.
We have 3 minutes to go, sir.
To deal with that,
yes.
The inconsistencies, the doubts that are coming of the few of TRRC evidence, testimonies. Here is Collie. The previous witnesses said Collie actually fired on Sergeant Fatou. He said he accidentally fired him, and he was supposed to be a medic. And there were a lot of doubts immediately after his testimony as to whether he was not lying.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, you know, I mean, if you listen to Collie, his testimony, there are some few things that were, like, he confirmed that the gun ought to be loaded with bullets. Of course, we know, common sense. He also confirmed that that you must have to play with the safety catch. And also you must have squeezed the trigger for it to fire. So, and also he said, they asked him, so for the gun to fire, someone must have squeezed the trigger. And he said yes. So, and for you to now say that and then also believe that you were running and somehow touched the gun and it fired, that didn't make sense, not at all. Yeah. And also, he went to help this guy. You understand? Already, he has described Sana Sabali in the worst of ways and his people. In fact, he used the word wildfire. So it was almost inconceivable. Sana Sabali shot some guy or ordered someone to shoot some guy, and he's standing. For you, medic, this is a guy he has ordered dead. He is already ready for him to die, and it's shot. For you to run from somewhere to come and save that guy's life, that's inconceivable.
I haven't watched that sitting of the TRRC. I've heard people talk about it, and I think what I've heard from people saying is, why was he armed in the first place? He was a medic. I mean, I would understand for anybody to be armed at that point, because it's the person who is approaching is considered the enemy, and the enemy is not going to differentiate who is an active combatant and who is not. But obviously, it wouldn't make sense if a gun is wrapped around your neck. I think it's going to be tilted downwards. So if it is going to be fired accidentally, it's going to be on the ground. It's not going to be pointed at somebody.
Exactly. And I think you know, the background is that one of these TRRC witnesses said at the beginning.
Said he stood on him and he said, pow, pow, pow.
It's calling
finished him.
Yeah. Pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
No, but
three times.
Three times. And it doesn't make sense, as Mustafa said, because every gun has safety catch.
Yeah.
You progress from level 1, level 2, level 3, or ready.
Yeah.
So it is impossible for anybody whose rifle is on the lock and key and safety all in place for it to fire. Accidentally.
I think him and JCB Mendy left the commission little convinced about.
Made like that, otherwise it would have been unsafe for anybody to put them on, because they could kill yourself.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. So I think Mr. Colley has more stories.
But also JCB Mendy, John Charles Mendy,
who admitted he was a drunkard. He could have been drunk on the day with testimony. Nobody knows. But his too was a cock and bull story, if you ask me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lamincham. That was quite insightful, from the burning incident to delving into politics and somehow Barrow Fans Club. Thank you very much. And next is Mr. Mustafa Kedaboda, who will be taking us through what we have on the Kerr Fatou website. And from there, Nima Sata will also take us through what we have trending on social media.
Oh, sure. On the website, I think what newspapers didn't cover, let me start with that because this happened on Friday. That's Alaji Kanyi's testimony at the trial between the TRRC ongoing trial of witness tampering, or alleged witness tampering. Yeah, Janko Ture and Fatma Jahumpa Sise. Alaji Kani was in the court on Friday and he testified, narrated the story, basically how he that Mr. Koli, Mr. Ture had called him and also gave his number to Fatma Jahumpa Sise to call him, and he said Yakuba Ture even told him that these people are going to be around for only 2 years and then they will F off, you know, if you like. I use the F word.
F word is a controversial word, so
yeah.
For obvious reasons, don't go around there.
Absolutely. So yeah, and then yeah, and the testimony progressed. So effectively now the trial has started. I think next week on April 2nd we would have the continuation of the trial.
So the two cases have now been combined.
Yes, the two. So it's first and second accused.
Oh.
Yakuba is the first accused and Fatma
Is that to save cost or because it's similarity in the charges?
Yeah, certainly, and also to also it's also reasonable that you put it together to save time also, you know, and you know.
Well, since that is in court, we cannot comment much about.
Yeah, but the two faces, they faces chances of if convicted, it's 3 years in jail or pay 1 million.
That mandate
or both.
Oh yeah?
Actually, yes.
It's a very serious
it's a serious offense for which you can go 3 years in jail or pay 1 million or both. You can go to jail for 3 years and pay 1 million.
And this, notwithstanding, Janko will have to appear before the commission.
In fact, that is how the story came about. The story came about because TRRC has also approached Yakuba. So Alaji Kanye actually told the TRRC that that Yakuba asked him if he had told the commission what happened at his house.
Yes.
At his house.
This was after his appearance.
Well, he said that in the court, that at his house. And the press prosecutor, Mr. Almame Manga, wanted to drag them into that story, what happened at the house. But the defense lawyer did reason, this is unnecessary because we are not on a murder trial. So we are not, and also they also talked about, Alaji Kanye said, he told him, but sir, what happened to those who were captured? And he used the F word again, according to Kanye, to say, well, didn't they say they will kill us too if it happened, if they had succeeded? So it's good that they dance to their tune. That's what Kanye said.
So who filed the complaint? Sorry to cut in.
The TRRC. Yeah, because
the police actually, because the police are the ones who implement.
Yeah, it's the police who actually arrested them because it's a crime, tampering with the witness. So they've just changed the charge sheet, but it's not substantial. In other words, the changes of the charge sheet, it's more on the semantics, the language. That it's now conspiracy to tamper with a witness and tampering, interference with a witness.
So that's serious crimes, actually.
It is indeed. If you look at the penalty, it is indeed. Yeah. So and also you would see that I don't know whether you followed the last witness. Something came up. The last witness, Babukar Sanya, before the TRRC, he was quite an interesting. He's a very trustworthy guy. At least it appears. It appears.
Reactions from
from the people, it seems like he's some guy that a lot of people trust. He said that the commission, I'm distracted because I've seen a story we should have discussed before this one. But he said that after November 11, close to 2 dozen soldiers were executed, that the morale of the soldiers were very low, and that he talked about a conflict between him, and his anger was palpable towards Alaji Martin, General Alaji Martin, who he believed supervised his torture. And this has brought us to a broader topic, which is, as TRRC is moving, soldiers are still by soldiers who they suspect to have tortured them.
Exactly.
A potential tension, isn't it?
That has been the concern from many people, that wasn't it time for the government to interdict, at least, if not really, get rid of people who have been named or are suspected to be behind the atrocities, to get them out of the system for the time being. Because what happened in Elijah Martin is the general. He's now the boss of Lieutenant Colonel
Sanya.
And he works directly under him.
Yes.
Now, if Sanya is exposing, and no one can be credible more than Sanya himself, if he is now revealing that his torture was supervised by Martin, who is his general now, and Martin is still a general. That's the highest rank you can get in the army. Now, what does
and he confessed his dislike to the Army High Command.
Yes, he said it.
I mean, we've talked about it so many times.
The guy is very well respected.
Yeah, I think where we could not agree on is who is going to take responsibility for removing people from service. The government could say that this is somebody accusing somebody else. We don't have the authority to remove someone from the service because somebody has accused them. But now, something that we can look forward to, if this is at all possible, is when people's name have been mentioned as parts of the perpetrators, the commission or the TRRC perhaps could make recommendations to the government to lay those people off for the meantime until their process is
But
over.
then perhaps the TRRC may think that if this is how we are going to treat our audience, our potential witnesses, because remember, whoever is adversely mentioned before the TRRC is by the law supposed to appear, or the TRRC should serve that person to appear. Then, if TRRC or government appears to be going after suspects, potential witnesses may not be willing to come. And TRRC count on their willingness to tell the story.
So in other words,
it's complicated.
Leave the status quo, the naming and shaming goes on until when TRR is finished.
And everybody control your temper.
And until they're finished and they give recommendations.
What?
The government spokesman, the government director of press was saying similar things on the radio interview with Hot FM last time. He said, well, these people have been named, they've been alleged to have done this, but some process must happen, before we get into action. So the government will say, well, there should have to be some process. It's just mere allegations first. So perhaps we have to wait. But then
perhaps
it's a concern generally of everybody, everybody who cares about that people who are known to have done atrocities are still in their place.
Yeah. So another interesting thing is, which I've not seen in other papers or other online news organizations, perhaps because we published it first maybe, it's the coming of 197 soldiers from Nigeria to the Gambia. Nigerian army have said that 197 personnel will be deployed to the Gambia. And the National Agency of Nigeria, News Agency of Nigeria, yes, no, I think it's under the ECOMIC, because the Nigerian guy said an ECOMIC mandate expires in August 2019.
But could this be new badge of to replace?
This is new badge from bigger brothers.
Then they are replacing the ones that are already here.
Yeah, but the Nigerian army said, the Nigerian colonel said this particular badge of soldiers are expected to be in the Gambia for 1 year. For 1 year.
And this news broke this
1 year starting now.
Okay.
So you're confused. What is this? I remember there was a time when Barrow has called for extension of the ECOWAS mandate.
No,
but that was not something I was aware that it has been approved.
I think the background is this. The ECOMIC's latest extension is supported by the EU.
Yes.
Now the EU has said, after August, they are not sure. They will continue to fund. Now this means, of course, if the Gambia and ECOWAS can have another means of extending it, if they want to do that, then they may have to go somewhere to look for funds. Or reach an agreement with these countries that are supplying the troops as how to sustain them.
Yes, because in fact, ECOWAS' initial deployment was on self-sustenance basis. It was self-sustenance basis.
That means ECOWAS
SSB. So because of that, Nigerians had funded their initial intervention. the Ghanaians have funded their initial intervention, so it was on self-sustenance basis.
So how do we just wrap this thing?
Yeah.
Quickly, let him read a paragraph so we can, yes.
So maybe perhaps I read you the story.
Yes.
So here is how it goes, because it was cooled from Nigerian National News Agency. It was published on Premium Times and other Nigerian, of course, other Nigerian news agencies, but we reproduced it from Nigeria. So it says, the West African Powerhouse on Thursday said it's deploying 197 soldiers and officers, 4 officers, to Gambia for a peacekeeping mission. The chief of the army, Tokal Borate, made the disclosure during the graduation of participants for the NECOF for ECOMIC pre-deployment training. So there was a ECOMIC pre-deployment training, because before you deploy soldiers, you gather them at a point, and this happened for about a month, according to the story.
This could
could
be they come to replace some soldiers who are returning, you know, who have just finished their this thing. That don't necessarily mean that they wouldn't go after August. So it could be their.
Then the interesting part is earlier the commandant of the center, Abubakar Tafa, said the pre-deployment training which lasted 4 weeks, and that the troops were expected to be in Gambia for a year.
Yes, that's
so now towards August 9 is not a year.
Yeah, but
okay, here's the thing. I think
they can also come in bits. Now you're talking about 200 troops. I didn't even know.
197.
I'm about 200. I didn't even know that the Nigerian contingent is as large as that.
No, it's not as large as that. Remember,
yes.
after the ECOMIC, because when ECOMIC landed in the Gambia, the mandate has changed.
Yeah, I know.
Because they came to intervene.
To fight. Now they are going to.
Yeah, now they yes. So when that happened, a larger chunk of the military had returned to Nigeria, a larger chunk of Ghanaians have returned, Senegal, larger chunk have returned, and you know, all the tanks, most of it returned. So this one's Air Force and others.
This one to be larger.
Larger, yes.
Than the existing.
Larger, because I think they had left with only.
So could it be that the Gambia government have reached a separate bilateral agreement with Nigeria?
Well, Nigeria have an interest.
Just ask them, because
I think there are follow-up questions that Mustafa,
journalist fraternity of the Gambia must pursue
this, because this is still not clear whether it is a special arrangement or whether it's a...
No, it's not a special arrangement. It's ECOMIG, and ECOMIG, MIG, it's specially for Gambia.
Now this means...
It's the intervention force that is named ECOMIG. Yes.
The EU saying that they may not continue funding does not mean that ECOMIG is going to go.
Yeah.
The Gambia government and ECOWAS could find other means and keep them here as long as the Gambia government wants.
In fact, the initial deployment was funded by them.
So in the end, it has to be Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal who will be helping to keep their troops here
because
at their own expense.
But they have an interest in continuing what they have started as well. Yeah. Gambia, remember, Gambia was how problem was solved in the Gambia contributed to an international goodwill, a lot of it, towards these countries because of the role they've played in ensuring peace prevailed in the Gambia. So they have an interest in ensuring the continuation of that peace. And you know, with what is happening at the TRRC, you don't know what
can happen. So that can be another justification.
I think perhaps that is the.
But that can be another justification for extending them, because if you have people within the army hierarchy who have been accused of atrocities and are still there, you never know what can happen. So there's you are saying that there is every justification that ECOMIG continues, with or without European Union support.
Thank you very much, Mustafa. That was quite insightful, and I want to believe that our viewers are definitely clinging on their screen right now, still reminding you that this is the brunch here on Kerr. And of course, next is we're allowing our sister Nimasata to tell us what has been trending
on social media. So what's trending on social media? Last week was not the same as this week. Last week was full of activities. We had the Supreme Court ruling, we had the cabinet reshuffling, we had the swearing of a new parliamentarian, and all of those unfolded on social media. It seems that what unfolded on social media this week was a follow-up to what happened last week. And one prominent case that we are going to discuss as part of our panel here today is a member of parliament who was sworn in last year by the name, I'm not sure about his first name, but his last name being Gassama.
Yeah.
Fode Gassama, who replaced Yakumba Jaite, making a declaration, I don't know if that's the right word to use, or recommendation to the executive to regulate social media. Apparently, this is not something new. Somebody has said this before, that social media must be regulated because apparently the executive and the government are not happy with the way that information goes around and how a lot of us, myself included, have become self-proclaimed commentators, political commentators. But this is what you expect in a democracy, right? We cannot censor what people say or where they share their platform. I think there are laws against speech in general. There are defamation laws. There are laws on libel, and I think those are the things that you want to look out for. And you also want to maintain the peace as far as whether or not what goes out is can be considered hate speech or not. But you don't want to censor people because that will contravene the principles and the values of democracy. So I don't know what sort of regulations they are calling for, but obviously this is not going to be accepted by the civil society. Members of the civil society, especially, I've seen from Mali Jobate, I've seen from other civil society personnel speaking against this, and I think they speak on behalf of majority of us who feel that we have come from a period that was really difficult as far as free speech is concerned, and when we claim to gain something out of the struggle that we went through during the impasse, freedom of speech is one of those things that we consider as a gain from that struggle. So obviously anybody who would speak against that will be seen as an enemy of the progress that we've already made. I don't know what your thoughts.
Would that affect our democracy?
Obviously.
Well, in fact, Mr. Gassama, the newly nominated member of parliament, was interviewed at the Standard, right? Standard. He said, like you said, he urged government to regulate social media, and he acknowledged that even though social media played a significant role in the change we have now, that it could, if unchecked, it could be counterproductive, right? Like it can be used in other negative ways that can bring problems in a country. Now you see, no government would like to be the subject of criticism, and the volume of criticism and uncontrolled deluge of criticism that comes from social media will make every government, any government, uncomfortable, including this one. And politicians will always hide behind, well, security of the nation, to shield or, to put off criticisms or, communications that are coming, that they don't like. So, Mr. Gassama, being nominated by the president, especially given the circumstances, one can think that he is sharing the concern of the government about criticism that's come on social media.
You seem to be very according
what the government's position is on the media. But the government is not bold enough or courageous enough to do anything to that. They just simply cannot.
But the question is, far, what has unfolded on social media that you would say could be a threat to our security?
No, the director, the professional intelligence office, the director of NSS, or how do you call it, SIS, had said the social media, he almost said it's a threat, but he said it's a challenge what comes in there, because what happens is people get into topics that they are not authority, they are not well versed in, and they become commentators, like he said, and give suggestions and things that are not informed. So he said that's where the problem is. But the problem now here is there is definitely a concern among Gambians and all over the world.
Can I say something before you continue with what you're saying? People commenting on things that they are not informed.
Yeah.
Would that require a social media regulation, or would that require the government to provide a platform where counter information will be given that is factual?
This is exactly the problem. Now the problem with the Gambia government is that it's unable to communicate to the people in the most basics of ways. On the immigration, they had this problem.
Yes.
On the EU deal, they had this problem. Gambia government doesn't come out to talk to the people. In fact, there is no, even agreements, mere agreements. When Gambia government sign a deal with EU, EU is the first to take it out. When Gambia government sign anything...
Inexperience or lack of the will to explain.
Look, we all know the mindset of a Gambian public official.
Is it inexperience or lack of transparency?
It's unwillingness and arrogance.
Unwillingness to be transparent.
And
they don't want people to follow up on things that are a burning issue for the country that they are unwilling to explain.
You know who released the information about Gambia EU fishing deal?
Yes.
It was the EU.
EU. Everything is coming from there.
Why? The migration thing, who revealed it? It was the EU.
The government is inexperienced to talk to its citizens about things that is going to do.
In Gambia,
they simply are not willing to share the information.
I think they are unwilling to share the information.
But if
the biggest
case, wouldn't they have thought that this could be counterproductive? This could come back to them.
Look, let me give you.
They don't have clues as to how it goes.
It's not that. It's not that. Let me give. And it's in fact, it's like
because you know we said in politics, you may have all the best policies, the best programs, but if you cannot communicate.
And you know what?
I mean, no, but also, but
what I do not understand is that the office of the president especially has a wonderful media committee or media team.
By name or in action? In practical
terms of the personalities that they
but they don't count.
How many of their activities inform anything that is related to the government apart from what Barrow said here?
And the government, and in fact, what is
How many of their activities inform?
I think they have an office.
Government
they have an office for government spokesman. I think, and this spokesman is office in the Ministry of Information and Communication.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if it's going to be a government spokesman, it should be in the State House.
Yeah, but the point is, State House has a press office.
No,
the president has a spokesperson.
When you say government, the
State House has a media team.
Yes, but
and then there is the Ministry of Information.
Okay, now we are talking about basic policies like migration.
We have 1 minute.
Like migration, like economics, etc., etc. Where these things are agreed upon or about to happen, or there has been an issue raised on social media, whose job is to?
But the problem is,
if they themselves are not coordinated and they don't know in the first place, how can you come back?
But the reality is that the biggest misinformer of the public is the government. It's the government that always comes up with misinformation. The threat always is the government. You and I carry around a pen. It's the government that controls the gun. It's government that controls all the power.
If they sit down, you are saying that they sit down and don't talk. And when the topic is raised, they counter with a false information.
That's what I am saying. That's what we have seen. And also, let me also explain this just few minutes. When Barrow government came to power, let's see the trend. Initially, they were having press conferences at State House. It stopped. Weekly press conferences, it stopped. 2 weekly, it progressed to 2 weeks. Yeah. Now it's 1 month. 1 month. And now it stopped completely.
The 6 months, I didn't say 6 months. When was the last
the office of the Minister of Communication was organizing press conferences. It stopped. It's not doing anything.
It's not regular anymore.
The State House used to at least help us organize press conferences with the president twice every year. For now, as at now, it's March 23rd.
March 23rd last year.
Yeah, so if the government is not communicating and the government wants to control what is being said in the public space,
I think it was late last year, but not quite 6 months.
So how do you control whatever is said in the public space if you are not talking to the people?
So that's besides the point. The point is the government doesn't need to regulate social media. People have their opinions, they are going to voice it. The government need to create platforms where they communicate truthfully with their people. Because when we get the facts from them, nobody is going to misinform anybody else.
That's the idea of marketplace of ideas.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, Mr. Lamin Cham. We are very time constrained. And now it's time for one of always my favorite segment, that is the entrepreneur. And what we do on this edition of the program is we'll profile a Gambian who has set up a business for economic growth and employment creation. In this edition, we meet a lady by name Fatou. She is the manager of Lady Fanta's Bakery, a bakery known for making different types of breads and pastry with excellent customer service. Let's watch.
Man Fatou Singate. Suma position fini Ladies Fanta's Bakery, man my manager bi. Suma jëkkër Fodé Singate moom mooy CEO bi. Léegi ñun America lañ dëkka waaye bakery bi mu ngi fii Sukuta in the Gambia. Man maa ngi fee gum nag di supervise xale yi di leen manage for the next 3 to 6 months. We'll see, you know, achievement and go, to reach our goals. Mburu mom dañ dee defar lu nekka like soul bread, sen four, croissant dañ ko dee defar bi dee ànda cheese. Dañ dee defar charity bread, ba pare dañ dee defar dugub bread, ba pare dañ dee def tamit chocolate bread, which is the soul bread. Lu ma bëgg a wax bi was rek ne ñun sun bakery bi mu ngi fii Sukuta waaye ba tey am nañ sun outlet bi nekk pipeline around JMAT, like xam naa ne ñu bari xam nañ ko, so ñu ngi wax customer si tamit suñ mënta ñëw fii Sukuta mun nañoo dem pipeline JMAT. They prepare everything lu ñoo def yëpp fii lañ koo def guddi den suñ paree nag si suba teel ñu yóbbu bakery bi yëpp fële ne le pipeline si outlet bi, so place bi neex naa xam. ñu ngi leen a ñaan ngeen ñëw doole support ñu jàppale ñu, already xam naa ne yéen ak ñoo dimbale waaye ñu ngi leen a gën a ñaan tam ngeen gën a ñëw because we have quality bread. Suñ dee defar mbuur bi dañ dee make sure ne def nañ fa ingredients yi yëpp. Waa staff suñ am moom maa ngi sant yàlla because youth si la suma jëkkër hire Fodé Singate moom loo wax rek mu ne I wanna empower the youths, so moom loolu moo ko gën a inspire moo tax mu def bakery bii nii. Xanaa di ñaan youths rek ñu gën a jàpp si liggéey bi ba pare wax leen ne thank you very much because di leen wax jërëjëf, gis naa naka leen jàppee fuur bi comme seen boppa, dañoo toog fi all night di liggéey duñ dee nelaw. So for the past month, we fi dee toog ba suba pour make sure that we have quality bread. maa ngi leen a wax jërëjëf ngeen gën a góorgóorlu ñu gën a mun a liggéey lu baax ndax fuur bi dem si kanam. Okay, like I said, my name is Fatou Singate. We live in Dallas, Texas, USA. The bakery is here in Sukuta, and we have an outlet at Fajara Pipeline. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody that's supporting the business, especially the ones that are in the diaspora. We really, really appreciate the support and the help to able to reach our goals. And also I would like to thank the youths for their hard work and their dedication to the bakery. Also, I would like to thank my husband, Fodé Singate, who is the owner of the bakery. I know that he is a very hard working man, and I really appreciate, you know, the hard work, everything you do for Gambia and everything you do for the business. Thank you very much. Thank you very much also, Kerr Fatou, for coming over to see what we do here. I really appreciate it for you guys coming. Thank you very much.
My Mustafa Faye. Wow, okay. Dañ am foundation, Safariman Singate Foundation. Foundation be more waral affaire four bi, you know, because foundation we get support a lot of, we have a lot of projects like we get support the hospital, education sectors, you know, individuals, orphanage, you know, yoo xam ne ni yëpp foundation bi mu ngi leen a sponsor. So ñu xelaat ne ñu ubbi dara loo xam ne nii comme dajale xaalis si kaw di ñëw dafa métti ñu ubbi loo xam ne nii dinañ ci mun a am loo xam ne nii suñ dimbal jotee dinañ ci mun a gaaw a def moo waral ñu ubbi bakery bi ba pare bakery bi buñ ko ubbee tamit lu tax ñu ubbi ko yëpp tamit pour dimbale Gambian youth because soo seetee bakery bi ñu fay liggéey yëpp ay xale lañ ñoo xam ne nii ñëpp ay xale lañ ñëpp from 18 years to 24 ku fanaa ko fi mag is 24 25 or so kon loolu noonu yëpp pour jàppale ndawi réew mi la you know so foundation bi tamit ñu ngi involved in lot of activities like sports comme nu ma ko waxee woon tamit sports tamit suñu si we have a football team called Safariman Singate Football Club and a lot of activities are going on and we have a lot of plans yoo xam ne ni tamit for the Gambia. Thank you.
Matuda Buadiba. Okay, mama neka supervisor be fini. Come pour ma make sure like come everything is intact. Okay, come after mixing the rek garden go dey ñew taxaw ki mo neka host mo neka sun kota bi. He's a very good guy. He's a young guy. Ba Gambian la xam nga. Yeah. So mo neka sun kota bi. Mo dey ñew like comme su go gaay mixé be paré mu isi ko fini ci table bi. Mu make sure like comme mu cote ko pour bread bi mu am comme that size buñ bëgga. Yeah, that's it. Ba paré comme su ko gaay côté fini after den ko dey yobbu fale ci roller kay bi. That's the rolling machine. Moy fi. Yeah. So bi moy génné like comme mburu bi size buñ ko bëgga ki moy seku. Yeah, mom moko dé sani fofu non pour nga gis ñu make sure né mburu bi everything is normal ak roll bi. Yeah. And from there, si plate yi len ko dé tek yi mo nek like sun plate yi dañoo make sure like comme everything mu ngi set comme noko gisé rek comme mu ngi position like comme ni nga ko bëggé ba paré mburu bi comme fi la ñoo xamé comme baaxay bread bi xam nga comme gars suñ ko xécé ñu plé ko after li mu tamé moy tax mburu bi mu gëna rafet ya fi raak bu nekk daf dé jël 14 raak bu nekk 14 bread fi mo nekk suñ sing bi den dé bëgg like ñu make sure like comme before suñ bakers yi ñu start bake gars dañoo ñëw fi ñu raxas seen loxoy because that hygiene dañ ko nit because bread la farine la so fi la gars dé raxasé seen loxoy ba gars set after gars dem si play fu gars dé play mburu bi gars play mburu bi ya because den bëgg rek comme lu ñoo def rek mu set xam nga so fi la gars di ñëw gars raxas seen loxo bi everything gars def ko intact after gars dem fale gars play ya that's it fi la gars dé dugal bread bi légui bread bi fi leen ko dugal like comme suñ bëggé mu ray su ko gars play ba paré fi la ko gars di dugal pour mburu bi mu jóg maybe like 3-4 hours after ñu dugal ko ci four bi pour ñu bake ko yeah so that's the room.
welcome back after that video of the entrepreneur. Of course, indeed, Fanta's Bakery is the place to be. We've seen all the nicely decorated bread using one of the quality flour produced in the Gambia, of course, to produce those beautiful bread and pastry that we've seen over there. Now we have a special guest on the show, and he goes by the name Mr. Alaji Fode Janko. Fode Janko is the president of the Gambia Student Nurses Association, and he will tell us a brief history about the existence of the association, its aims and objectives, membership and structural body of the association, and we will also discuss a waiting project. So today we're very interested in knowing of the project, which the caption goes, know your status and save a life in 1 minute. Mr. Fode Janko, you're welcome to the Brunch Show.
Thank you.
So quickly tell us a little bit of yourself and the association.
Yeah, well, my name is Alaji Fode Janko. Like you rightly said, I'm a student nurse at the School of Nursing, Gambia College, and in my final year, and I'm also the president of the Gambia Student Nurses Association. Like you said, the association is, founded in 1994 with the aim of uniting nursing students so that anywhere they go, they find themselves in any hospital, they can work as a one to, foster, that unity so that any work that they are doing, it can be effective. That is effective healthcare delivery. This is what we do, and we have our members from Bansang, Mansakonko, and now, thank God, last year we have the two universities in the Gambia, that is University of the Gambia and American International University, which also join us, as a body. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Now, I am very interested when I read the caption, know your status and save a life in 1 minute. Tell me about this project. It seems quite interesting.
Yeah, really. The project seems very interesting. Know your status and save life in 1 minute. It's a basic health screening that we want to do in institutions. Like, for example, you're working, if you come to work from 8, maybe, you go back home by 6. So you don't have enough time to go to the hospital and do certain, health checkup. But with this new status and save life in 1 minute, we're providing healthcare delivery into the doorstep of people that are working in institutions. This is basically what we want to do. And if you look into the project, the thing that we are targeting is, diabetic and hypertension. This is the thing that we want to work on. Like, if you go back to our constitution, one of the things that we should do in collaboration with other organizations is to, sensitize people, about, some of these health trends that are occurring in our communities, and the like. So, as, stated in that constitution, so we want to work into that to make sure that people are aware, people know some of these constitutions. It doesn't only mean that, like, anything that I get, I need to go to the hospital for checkup. But before you go to the hospital, you need to, know some of the things that you need to do to prevent yourself. So this is what we want to do. So the
basics, knowing the basics of healthcare.
Exactly. So it entails a lot of things. Like, for example, when we say, diabetics. Diabetics are, different categories. You have type 1 diabetic, type 2 diabetic, and you have gestational diabetic. Like, for example, type 1 diabetic, which is, insulin dependent diabetic. Like, someone will, not be producing the insulin. So, like, the other organ called the pancreas is either, what we call, like, the immune system will try to destroy that cells in the pancreas so that it cannot produce the insulin, or is due to infection that the insulin will not be able to produce it. So what happens, your body will not be, even as there is glucose in your blood, but the body cannot utilize it. It's in the blood, but it cannot reach the cells. So you become diabetic. This is what it does. So that's why they call it diabetes, insulin dependent diabetics. So it's like your body system, for the cells to be able to utilize the glucose in your body, so you have to be using a manufactured insulin. That is the one they will be injecting you so that the body cells can able to utilize the glucose in your blood. And you have the type 2 as well, which is non-insulin dependent diabetic, where the body is producing the insulin, but the cells in the body cannot be able to utilize the glucose in your system. So this is type 2 diabetic. So you have
what do you take for that?
Okay, the type 2 diabetic also, you have, drugs, medication that you'll be able to take so that the glucose in your blood, the body cells will be able to utilize them. So the insulin there is already, present, but the body cannot be able to utilize that. So
sorry for quoting you.
Yeah.
I am quite interested in diabetic talk because we notice that a lot of Gambians suffer from diabetes, as I know. And you mentioned the various types of diabetes, type 1, type 2. So which is the most common in this country?
Okay, like in this country, the way in which it is, Gambia is difficult for you to be able to establish because statistics is always our problem. But type 2 diabetic is frequent that you be able to see people having it. And diabetic is so interesting at some point that people with diabetic can even go into coma. Just last week, this very week, I think on Tuesday, I was in ICU working, and I saw a patient who was admitted, newly admitted, and was the very day that they knew that the patient was diabetic, having diabetes ketoacidosis. It's another complication of diabetic, whereby, the body will not be able to produce the insulin that it needs to produce for, your cells, body cells be utilizing the glucose in your body. So the body will not be able to do that. Now the fat in your body is what the cells will be disintegrating so that it can produce the energy for the body cells to utilize that one. So as that trend continues, your system will become acidic. So where a substance produced called ketone. So the ketone will make that thing to be acidic, and then it causes a lot of complications. You become confused, you become thirsty, and many other things. You urinate frequently. And there are a lot of things that it does, but to be brief, this is what happened in the system.
So I think before you confuse us to and our audience, we start from the basics.
Yeah.
Your organization is established.
Sure.
It's a student organization.
Yeah.
And you are established to sort of help sensitize people with what you know about these common diseases.
Sure.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So, at what stage are you in that process, and what sicknesses do you talk to people about, and how do you do it?
Yeah, like, we usually find it difficult for people to invite us in platform where we express to the people and sensitize them on some of these things that happen. And thank God today we have the Kerr, Fatou, and we are very much happy to be part of the program. So for the first time in the history of GAMSNA, this is the first thing, projects under my leadership that we're trying to work on. But for us to do this, we need materials. Like we need the blood pressure machine, we need glucometer to be doing this. Though the transportation and other things, we'll be able to manage that one for ourselves. But these are the basic materials that we need, and we find it difficult to get. We write into organizations, we meeting people, but all they tell us that, we also find it difficult to have money and the like. So yeah, it's making it difficult for us to implement it. The document, what we need to do, everything is captured there. So we're giving it out to people so that they can help us to implement this project.
So if you have these materials, what you want to do is to test people who are dying.
Yeah, okay, like if we have the material, we cannot say XYZ is hypertensive or XY is diabetic. So all you're going to do, we have our forms, everything is ready. We just go to the institution, take consent from them, and if they accept, they're not going to give us dime, nothing. We're just going to do it on free will. We come there and then we test their, diabetic status. We test their, hypertension status. So if you are within the range of being into that, situation, we advise you, we will educate you, and ask you to go to the nearest health facility for further investigation. But the way the project is, we're not going to treat, but we're going to find what is your problem, and then, direct you for, further, follow-ups and the like. This is what we want to do. Like, I always quote this study that was done in one of the states in Nigeria in 2017 in public institutions. They went there to find out this diabetic thing. And so interestingly, they found out that 11.7% of the population studies were pre-diabetics, meaning your blood glucose is above normal, but you cannot classify it under diabetic, but you cannot also classify it under normal. So meaning as time goes on, if they are not making any measures to make sure that they are well healthy, they will be diabetic. And they found out that 5.8% of that particular population that was studied were already diabetic, but those people did not know. So this is how significant it is for us to be doing this and sensitize people. Not that anytime you have to go to the hospital, but health service need to be put at the doorstep of the people. This is what we believe on. This is why we come up with this project. And another thing, the hypertension issue, there are people, there is what we call white coat hypertension and max hypertension. So with the white coat, hypertension, people will go to the hospital, but because they see a nurse or they see a doctor, you check their blood pressure is high. So you may think that these guys are developing hypertension, while no, that is not the case. But when they are at home, their pressure is normal. You can test them, they are normal. Anytime you test them, they are normal. And you have what we call max hypertension. Those people, if they go to the hospital, despite they used to have high blood pressure, if you test them, their pressure is always normal. Their pressure is always normal. But when they go back home, their pressure is high. So these are the two things. So with our project, whether you go to the hospital, they test you, your pressure is high, or you go there, they test you, your pressure is normal, you come back home, is high. So we'll be able to find out some of these things. And we believe that this could really help the government to make sure that they take care of some of these things that are happening.
Now, let me ask you, this project, Know Your Status and Save a Life 1 Minute, is it surely initiated by your association? And where are you going to get funding to do it?
Yes, obviously, this is, since I took the leadership in January, this was the first thing I want to work on. And to, tell you the fact, we are the only people that started this project in the Gambia, and I have never heard of it anywhere where it is being done.
Are you expecting funding, like to be able to go to institutions and workplaces, you need transport, you need this thing? If you agree to come to my office, for example, how do you get there?
Yeah, if we want to get to office, we usually find someone that can link us to the main man in that particular institution.
How do you transport yourself?
Yeah, we get funding from ourselves. We don't have a specific people that sponsor us in our activities. All the funding is from ourselves. That's why this project we knocking doors to make sure that we have funding from people. And
good. Let me go back to the nursing association. You call it nurses.
Still nurses.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that people still are confused about.
Yeah.
When you say nursing association, you have how many type of nurses do you have? All in this we have state registered nurse, MC,
yeah.
FCN, and etc.
Yeah.
Can you explain that now? Are those still existing, or you have different types?
Yeah, they are still existing. You have level 1 nurses, the second level nurses, and the third level nurses. The second level nurses, which comprise of the SCN nurses, SCN nurses, which is in state enrolled nurses, which are in Bansang, and then you have CHN, that is community health nurses, which are in Mansakonko. Those two schools are trained for 2 years, and then you have state registered nurses, SRN school, which I am in. We are trained for 3 years. So we are the third level nurses, and then now that
when we have third level, that's the highest.
Yeah, and now that we have the BSc, which is done at the University of the Gambia for 4 years.
Yes.
That is University of the Gambia and American International University. These are the type of nurses we have. And then you have, others like the nurse attendants, NAs, which they have a school in Bakote called Foundation for Nursing. They are training them. And then you have VIMP, Nursing Associate. This one are also NAs, that is nurse attendants. Like you, a nurse who is already trained on that, you need some of the things that they need to help you with. You cannot do everything. So you ask them, do this for me, do this for me. But they also have their work boundaries where they cannot go further. Yeah, this is what happened.
Thank you very much, Mr. Janko, for quite an insightful one. But before we take a leave of you, we want to tell the general public that if you do want to sponsor this great initiative that is Know Your Status and save a life in 1 minute, do contact Mr. Alaji Fode Janko of the School of
SRN Schools.
SRN School.
Yeah.
And of course, perhaps you would like to leave your email address?
Yeah, you can email our association gamsna94@gmail.com, or you can email myself jankoalhajifode@gmail.com.
Gamsna.
GAMSNA 94@gmail.com, or you can still call 311-685 or 243-083. You can also call 9246997.
But you are commonly found at the
SRN School, yeah.
Just by State House.
Exactly, that's where exactly.
We want to encourage the general public to sponsor, come out and help sponsor this great initiative, because there are nurses, and if they have great initiative, it's only wise for us to support young professionals. Thank you very much, Mr. Janko. Your final words before we take a leave of you.
Yeah, we are encouraging people to come to our aid to help us so that we can able to conduct this exercise. Is very, very important, and this condition do not leave anyone. Genetics are risk factors and many other things, like ladies also are highly affected now that you have these contraceptives that people use, are highly exposing a lot of ladies into hypertension. So we really urge people to come and help us. There are a lot of factors involved in this, but we cannot explain everything, and we really need help so that we can able to conduct this exercise.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll have Hotspots of the Week. And the place to be is Roots Beach Bar and Restaurant located in Bijilo. Let's watch what we have.
My name is Mustafa Tamba, and this place is Roots. It's a family business. I'm the one running this branch. We have Kunta Kinte, Kaswime, and this is 2-year-old. My name is Mustafa Tamba, and this place is Roots. It's a family business. I'm the one running this branch. We have Kunta Kinte, Kaswime, and this is 2-year-old. We offer a lot of good services. We do a lot of catering as well. We do a lot of functions, weddings, and special occasions as well, and the services are really good. Actually, in the area we've been recommended that we've got the best dishes around this area. We've got one of the best chefs in the area compared to all the places in there. Breakfast, we do English breakfast, we do continental English breakfast, egg, bacon, sausages, tomatoes. We do fried eggs on toast as well, scrambled eggs on toast, fried tomatoes on toast. Lunch, we do different snacks, soups, cold starters. The hot starters, we do the chicken soup, tomato soup, vegetable soup, garlic bread, garlic prawns, garlic mushrooms, spring rolls, chicken and vegetables. And the cold starters, we have salad niswas, seafood salad, Caesar salad, prawns cocktail, mixed salads. And the snacks as well, we've got bacon and fried onion sandwich, sausage fried onion sandwich, steak sandwiches, streams, beef burgers, cheeseburgers, double-decker king burger as well. Gina is one of the best dishes you can have in the areas. We do grilled chicken chips, supreme chicken, grilled chicken in breast, crispy chicken legs, chicken curry, chicken in mixed vegetables. Steak dishes, we do steak and beef, pepper steak, beef brochettes, beef curries, grilled fillet steaks with mushrooms and sauce. And we have a Gambian dish as well, tomata with beef or chicken and fish. Benachin as well, beef, chicken and fish. Yassa, beef, chicken and fish as well. We offer free beddings for those who want to send beds, wheelchair access, and we have a friendly team and well secured as well. Location is in Bijulo, close to the Chinese embassy, the former Bijulo Hotel, 100 meters from the main road. 2744 979. We use in a WhatsApp number, which is my UK number as well, which is +44 7398 105328. Yeah, the WhatsApp number is +44 7398 105328. Roots Beach Bar and Restaurant is the hottest spot in town at the moment. And I forgot the Sunday buffets is one of the best at the moment. Every Sunday, cheapest buffet as well, $4.50 per head.
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. My name's Wendy. It's not my first time to Gambia, it's my second time, but I've visited this restaurant many times. It's my favourite. It's amazing here, the people are so friendly, the staff's very helpful. It's the best place ever. The service is amazing. Even if you don't want anything, they're around just in case you do.
Muhib. No, I have been here many times. I cannot even count. Yeah. Well, I cannot mention anything from the menu because anything I ordered, boom, they just bring it. Even if they don't have it in the menu, actually, they still do it for me. I love it, actually, and I love the place, I love the view. I love their customer service, and the owner, he's the best owner in town. I love the way he treats his customer, actually. And actually, I advise everyone to come to Roots Bar Restaurant. You people will enjoy it. Roots is the best and hottest bar in the Gambia.
Roots Beach Bar is definitely the place to be. We have now come to the end of today's brunch show with me, Joy Nwama, and of course, before we take a leave of you, I will allow my co-host and our panelists to give their final contribution. Mr. Lamichan?
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching us wherever you may be in the world. We hope to be back on Saturday with more brunch.
Mr. K, Dabo?
Well, I am hoping that the next brunch we will talk about a more important story. We're looking forward to the sessions at the National Assembly. They've resumed sittings. And also the next week TRRC, they are wrapping up November 11. Testimonies on November 11, and also they have started, which we've not discussed, identifying mass graves of November 11 victims and also reaching out to the family. So we're looking forward to an eventful week.
We want to thank our viewers and especially our sponsor, who's no other than EJ Investment, for believing in us and also encouraging new sponsors. Our doors are open, always link us up. It's important that we support our very own brunch show to excel and succeed so you can keep clinging on your TV. I still remain Joy, your host for Kerr Fatou Brunch Show. Bye.
Dreaming of owning a property in a prime location with great proximity and fantastic neighborhood? EJ Investments Sanyang Seaview Estate is the best choice you have been waiting for. Our Sanyang Seaview Estate is approximately 15 minutes drive away from the busy hub of Brusubi roundabout and into the heart of nature, where you can have a peaceful and relaxed lifestyle with your family. You can buy a finished 4-bedroom story with 5-year flexible payment plan or a service plot with 2-year payment plan option. With over 300 homes, you will enjoy big tar roads with covered drainage, modern electrification with solar street lights, gated entrance with security post, and a breath-catching experience of our beautiful sea view and lake view. You can own a home today at our Sanyang Seaview Estate. Call us today on 446-4838 or 325-9220. Visit our website on ejinvestments.net. EJ Investments, first in property.